Hello! Read it here. Today we're going to read a story from our /Entitle parents. Now, for our first story, Let Them Eat Cake. Long ago, way back in the before time, I worked for one of those bulk warehouse club stores. My trade was simple. I was a wrangler of the Silver Buffalo and dutifully retrieved the old ghetto strollers I did. The job in and of itself wasn't the worst I'd ever had. I got plenty of exercise, got to be outside, and generally didn't have to interact with the members. Calling them customers was taboo for the most part. The thing about this job is that the company I worked for had a reputation for being cheap. Thusly, more often than not, I was on my own out in the parking lot. Big whoop, you might say. You gathered carts? You should see how hard and wide job is. Yeah, well, shut up. This is my story, but much. I digress. The reason that being alone sucked is that this store didn't have just one kind of cart. Hell, they didn't even just have two kinds of carts. You had your classic garden variety cart, the kiddie cart with a plastic facade to make it resemble a car, the electric scooters, which weren't supposed to leave the store, but did so with alarming frequency, and finally, the bulky, hard-to-control flatbeds. On top of that, whenever someone needed help loading their haul into their minivans, I was the guy they called. You know, because the greeters, cashiers, and managers were all busy. As you might expect, one man cannot be in multiple places at once. And as a result, on some of our busier days, it became incredibly difficult to keep enough carts in the vestibule. Our story begins on one of these days. So there I was, chugging along like a good worker drone, struggling to keep up with the sheer volume of people coming in to buy cheap bulk goods. Sure enough, I get a call on the radio. Manager, SKTCHH top_Gorilla17. We need you to help some members load their purchases. SKTCHH. I'd love to, but I'm barely able to keep up out here as is. Manager. SKTCHH, just do it top_Gorilla17. You can afford to stop gathering carts for 2 minutes. SKTCHH. Ron Howard, he couldn't. I didn't want to push my luck, so I complied. After spending 20 minutes loading people's purchases, because when one person needs it, suddenly they all need it, I came back to find my vestibule in near ghost town, save for a single line of carts that was half gone, and the Karen. I won't waste time describing this specimen. She was a prototype. You know what she looked like? There she stood, menacing, tapping her foot with such speed that could make any metal drummer green with envy. You could collect the contempt in her gaze in a jar. Karen, where are the big flat ones? I blanked for a moment. Me? I'm sorry. Gaddon? Mexicans. For the record, I'm very much white. Karen, where are the flat ones? Me? Oh, you mean the flatbeds. I'm sorry. I was just helping some other members load their merchandise and haven't had a chance to dash. Karen, my God, I don't care about your excuses. You have one job and a trained monkey. Could do it. I just want this lady out of my face, so I don't fight it. Me, sorry, ma'am. I'll grab one from the parking lot for you. Karen, you'd better. So I go back out to the lot and find a whole line of flatbeds sticking out of a corral blocking several parking spaces. I push them all into the vestibule where she waits, huffing about how I'm wasting her valuable time. I separate one from the rest and bring it to her. Me, I'm terribly sorry about the wait, ma'am. She leers at me with utter malice. Karen, unbelievable. And with that, she dismisses herself into the store, where she will be someone else's problem. I shake my head and return to doing what I'm paid to do. About 15 minutes later, I'm returning a line of carts when I see her pushing her flatbed to her Miata and jawing about stupid people, most certainly referring to me, on her cell phone. You know what she had bought? What she had insisted on having a flatbed for. A cake. This wasn't even like a big cake. It was one of those little circular numbers like this. Anyways, I witness as she continues to yammer on about how I nearly ruined, I tell you, her precious baby's birthday party when the most glorious thing happened. Still clutching her phone with those giant scoop claws of hers, she attempts to pick up the cake with one hand. The plastic topper pops off, and she spills the cake all over her undoubtedly expensive designer outfit. Seething with white-hot rage, she locks eyes with me. Karen, you, give me another cake. Now. Me, terribly sorry, ma'am. I've got one job, and these carts won't gather themselves. I walked away, shit-eating grin plastered on my face as her shrieks faded into the distance behind me. I've had my share of nasty customer interactions before, but this one really took the cake. Wait. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. I find it so strange that collecting the carts and putting them back is a whole job. In Ireland and the UK, and I think a lot if not all of Europe, you have to put a coin in to get the cart and you put the cart back yourself to get the coin back. I don't think it's even about the money. We're just all in the habit to bring them back anyway. Regardless, it's ridiculous that any adult would be that entitled and wouldn't just go get it themselves. And it's awful you have to put up with someone treating you so disrespectfully like you're not a person too. The end was perfect karma for that bitch. Comment 2. I wrangled the silver buffalo for some time. Did they make you work in the rain? And what's the largest number of carts you've ever pushed at one time? My personal record is 32. Comment 3. It's clearly a heavy cake that deserves its own specialized large flatbed. I mean, it's for her son's big day after all. Comment 4. I loved your descriptive detail of these fascinating creatures we call entitled parents. Scientists say that we have much to learn about this special creature. Still confused as of why we have wild animals roaming the streets. Now, for our second story. Entitled mother lets her kid steal my blind cane. So a bit of backstory. I am a 28-year-old woman who just recently went fully blind. When I was a teenager, I volunteered with my local youth group to help rebuild Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina. And while down there, I picked up a fungal parasite called histoplasmosis that over a decade migrated to my eyes and slowly caused blindness. I've been totally blind for about a year now, so I'm pretty new to it, but I digress. When I first went blind, I barely left the house and was afraid to go in public. I felt like everyone was staring at me, and in all honesty, I barely knew what I was doing. The transition had been difficult, and I didn't have any support group to teach me. One day, my husband asks if I can take an Uber down to the bank and deposit a rent check, and I reluctantly agree. While out, he messages again and reminds me that we're out of a few crucial groceries. There was a Walmart grocery literally across the street from the bank, so I figure everything in life is an experience, and I'll have to learn how to shop alone eventually, so why not? Everything was fine at first, and I was only grabbing a few things, so I didn't need a cart. I was using my cane and what little echolocation skills I had at the time to get around, but was still bumping into things as we blind tend to do sometimes. My cane suddenly hit something a bit softer, and I figure maybe I had whacked someone's leg and apologize. Cue entitled kid EK and entitled mother EM. Me shoot, I'm sorry. EM, hey, you just hit my son. Me, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't see him there. EM begins yelling. How could you not see him? He's clearly right here. Now I'm fully blind, but I don't wear sunglasses. Mostly because I can't afford a good UV blocking pair. But also I'm not ever looking for pity or to play the part of a generic blind person. I just want to be treated like a normal person, but I do understand her confusion as blindness is a spectrum. So I try to calmly explain. Me, ma'am, I'm blind. I can't see anything, let alone your son. That's why I have to use the cane so I can get around without. She cuts me off. If you're blind, why aren't you wearing big sunglasses? Now, as a blind person, I get a lot of stupid questions, but I understand a lot of them are just people who don't know better, so I try to happily answer as many as I can. Me, those are really expensive, around $200 for a good pair. And I really don't need any inside. You're not blind. You're faking it. Here's where my blood starts to boil. I can't think of any reason someone would want to pretend to be blind. It's an actual hell, and nothing pisses me off more than when someone calls me a liar when I'm not. Just as I'm about to respond, I feel a tug, and before I blink, I realize this little demon spawn has snatched my $100 cane from my hands. For those of you who don't understand, that's like if you're shopping and suddenly the power goes out and you can't see a single light. Without my cane, I can barely move at all without crashing into anything. My voice gets shaky as I begin to panic. Please give that back. I really do need it. No, you don't, you liar. My son deserves to play with this more than you. I hear her shuffle away, and my expensive cane cracking into metal displays, and such as they leave. I start crying and waving my arms in front of me to grab onto something, anything and end up crashing and falling into a center aisle display, making a loud scene. Without fail, I somewhat curl into a ball and cry. I'm alone in public in the dark, and I had no idea what to do. Suddenly, I feel a hand on my shoulder and a man's voice. We'll call him AG for awesome guy. Asks if I'm okay and to stay right here. I do, but begin to at least sit up and listen. This man must have been tall and built like a tank because his footsteps sounded like a giant, and I felt a suction of wind when he took off. Maybe about 30 or 40 feet away, I hear this loud bellowing like an angry lion and a loud crash. Then before I know it, the man is back and helping me to my feet. He takes my hand and puts my cane into my palm and helps me pick up the items I dropped when I fell into the display. Me wiping tears from my cheeks. Thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't know how to handle that. AG, don't worry about it. Some people are just monsters. This guy restored my faith in humanity and even helped me finish shopping and helped me out of the store. As we're leaving, I can hear the familiar screeching of EM. Something about AG grabbing the cane and pulling hard, flinging her little devil child into a shopping cart. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not, but it would explain the crash I heard. It's easy to feel alone in a world without sight, but even through the sheer terror of being stripped of my cane, at least I know now that there are people willing to stand up for me when I need it. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. I can't believe someone would do that. I'm very glad that man helped you. The bystander effect can be really awful sometimes, but as you said, I'm glad there are good people left in this world. I hope you're doing okay, and will soon be able to improve your experiences in public once we are allowed outside again. Comment 2. Speaking from the point of view of a not particularly unique person, I promised that most of us would jump in to help immediately. And after making sure you were okay, go on a rampage after that woman and kid to publicly shame them as loudly as possible. How dare anyone be that ignorant, rude, and cruel? Seriously. Anyway, I wish you all the courage and happiness there is as you adapt to your new way of living in the world. Hopefully, it will all soon be second nature to you. Comment 3. One of my regular customers was completely blind. I'm always impressed by how resilient people are. But he was very lonely and his career really treated him like a useless child. He used to ask for employees to help him navigate the mall. He didn't need it, but I did it because I knew he felt infantilized and wanted someone to just treat him like a person. I miss him sometimes. He was occasionally a difficult customer, but whatever. I hope that people show you the same kindness. I'm just so stunned by how quickly you've adapted. Also, props to your husband for not treating you like a broken baby either. Comment 4. One of my favorite customers to interact with, and the only one that I actually took the time to talk to instead of rushing to my next delivery, when I worked for Jimmy John's, was a blind man that works for my state's government. He was enough of a regular. I asked if it would be a problem if I brought in a few biscuits to go with his order, so his service dog could have a treat while he ate lunch. Every time he ordered, he made a point of apologizing that he couldn't sign the receipt and would tip us in cash every time. I never had a problem with that since, hey, I got tipped out at the end of every shift anyways. He mentioned one day that whenever me and 2 other people delivered his meals were cheaper and asked if we were taking off the cost of his drink or chips. I got a bit confused because delivery usually didn't have anything to do with how orders were put in. To skip a shitload of drama and a lovely conversation with the cops about why I was threatening a co-worker. My boss fired half the delivery staff and had a cop on hand to arrest them for fraud. She delivered his next order to personally apologize and made arrangements to give him their information if he wanted to press charges. Although he was remarkably nice and declined the offered store credit for the stolen money. Now, for our third story. Breastfeeding isn't allowed if you're a teen mom. So back in high school, one of my closest friends got pregnant and gave birth to the sweetest baby boy. She stopped going to school for a while to take care of her kid, but still did online school so she could graduate with her class. One thing we would do is go to one of the local food places near the high school on Fridays, and today we decided to go to this nice Chinese place that I frequent regularly, and the little old Asian lady knows me by name. This Chinese place has a sticker on the front door that says something like breastfeeding will always be allowed, which is great since that's what my friend is more comfortable doing for her baby. After we ordered our food and hung out in this little waiting area when the baby gets all fussy, she takes out the little cover and covers her baby in her chest as she starts to feed him. We keep talking until this woman and her son, who had to be around 10, comes in. I recognize the kid as one of the kids I looked after when I used to volunteer at a youth center. He comes up to me and starts talking to me and then asks my friend what she's doing with the baby. Before my friend could answer, the boy's mother cuts in. A disgusting thing is what she's doing. Don't you know better than to do that in public? And why are you even doing that if you're only a kid? My friend has an attitude sometimes, so I try to jump in before she would start to throw things. It's not illegal, and Mrs. L is fine with it. She has a sticker on the door. Mrs. L being the little old Asian lady by the counter who was just oogling the baby a second ago. She smiles at us and continues to write some stuff down. The mother wasn't happy about this and continues with her BS. I'm sorry, but I'm just not okay with a baby breastfeeding another baby. Can you please just stop? She says in frustration. Mrs. L finally cuts in, and in her broken English, she says nursing baby is a beautiful thing. You have problem, you leave. She then taps the order on the window that leads to the kitchen and apologizes to my friend for the woman's nasty behavior. She then looks at the boy, who is still next to me, and says jokingly, "Your mother, she dummy, right?" This makes the boy laugh, and the mother just grumble in her seat, trying to stay as far from us as she could. When my friend finished and we grabbed our food, Mrs. L threw in an extra order of eggs rolled since they were my friend's favorite. Everything was fine until Monday came and I saw the boy again. He pulls me off to the side and tells me that his mom said she doesn't like me or my friend. I just asked him if he still likes me, and he says yes. Yay! Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. LOL, that Chinese owner misses. L is funny towards the end. Your mother, she dummy, right? Comment 2. I have a Japanese mom. She took every chance to compliment my friends and put me down whenever she gave us rides or anything. It's typical. Comment 3. Halfway through the post, I was worried the Chinese women was going to be the asshole of the story and was worried it was going to be another case of one bad apple giving Asian people a bad reputation. But luckily, it was the complete opposite. You keep on taking no shit, Chinese restaurant woman. Comment 4. My wife's mother, who barely spoke a word of Japanese, had no fucking filter. LOL. With what little English she spoke, she threw so much shade. It was even funnier when she did it in Japanese. She would say something in her tone, and I'd look at my wife like, wah. She would then explain that she just called our waitress basically a hussy, but in Japanese it's especially more mean. LOL. And for Ms. Iwanaki's credit, the woman did look like a hoochie mamataki whore. Now, for our fourth story. You can't just throw out a stranded pregnant mother and her toddler at 3 a.m. in the cold. Oh yes, I fucking can. Buckle up, everyone, for this bumpy ride. Okay, so I was chilling in my living room around 3 a.m. playing some video games. My parents are out of town visiting some friends, and I decided to stay home, house to myself and all. So here I am, in nothing but bra and panties, when there's a knock on the door. WTF? I think to myself, so I scramble to get my clothes on and I answer the door. It was a family acquaintance with her already whiny little brat. She's also visibly pregnant, and we'll get to why that part is important later. Me. Hey, Nan, what's going on? Her. My car broke down, and tow company can't come get my car until tomorrow. Think me and brat's name can crash here tonight? Me. Sure, you guys can sleep in the living room. I let them in. Me. Want anything to eat or drink? Her. Coffee if it's not any trouble? Me. Sure, no problem. So I go to make some coffee when I see little shit picking up my controller. Me. Hey, little guy, please put that down. Her. Oh, can he play a game? Me. No, I'm in the middle of something, plus he wouldn't know how to play the type of game. Her. But he really wants to. Don't you, little shit? Little shit. I want to play. Me. No, you can't play. Little shit. I want to play. I want to play. I want to play. Away. H throws the fucking controller at the TV, shattering the screen. Me. What the fuck? I rush over to the TV. Hey, don't you swear at my child. Me. You just fucking let him destroy my TV like this. Her. You're the one who didn't let him play the video game. Me. I said no, and you have to teach your brat that he isn't owed jackass hit. Her. How dare you? Just wait until I tell your mother about how you treated him. You'll make a terrible mom. Me. I'm not having kids, but if I did, I wouldn't let them be spoiled little shits like brat. Her. You are being the brat right now. Just get a new TV and quit whining. Me. Y'all get a new TV with the money you pay me for the broken TV. Her what? But you were the one who instigated little shit. Me. You know what? Just get the fuck out of my house, you and your brat are no longer welcome in my house. Her. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm pre-egant and have a toddler and have nowhere to go. You can't just kick out a stranded pregnant mother and her toddler at 3 a.m. in the cold. Me. Yes, I can, you insufferable cunt. Get the fuck out of my house before I call the cops. Her. Picking her brat up and heading towards the door. Just wait until I tell your mother about this. Me. Yeah, I'll gladly tell her about what little shit did to the TV and that you refused to pay for it. Her. You'll regret this. Leaves. The next morning I called my parents and explained what happened. They were very understanding because I was never raised to be a spoiled little cum stain, and mommy cunt got an earful from my mom that if she didn't pay back we would take her small claims. She tried to play the oh whoa, is me single pregnant mother blah 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 shit, but it didn't work and she forked over the $500 for the new TV and we cut contact with her. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Honestly, had that been me, I would have gotten slapped and sent into my room and cried myself to sleep for all she cared. I'm fine. Tough love. Comment 2. At Thanksgiving, I used to let the kids play Minecraft on my 360. I got a Switch last year, and I brought it home for this past Thanksgiving. They asked if they could play it on my Switch, and I said no. My mom asked me why later, and I told her I only brought the Joy-Cons home, and they were $70. She instantly understood and did back me up on that, and the kids just moved on. Luckily, I didn't have any problems with the parents, haha. Comment 3. Give me chicken tendies, be they crispy or from Wendy's. Spend my hard-earned good boy points on kids' meal ball pit burger joints. Mommy lifts me to the car to find me tendies near and far. Enjoy my tasty Tendai treats in comfy big boy booster seats. McDonald's, Hardee's, Popeyes, Cane's, but of my tendies none remains. She tries to make me take a nappy, but sleeping doesn't make me happy. Tendies are the only food that puts me in a napping mood. I'll scream, I'll shout, I'll make a fuss. I'll scratch, I'll bite, I'll even cuss. Tendies are my heart's desire, fueled by raging, hungry fire. Mommy sobs and wails and cries. But tears aren't tendies, nugs or fries. My good boy points were fairly earned to buy the tendies that I've yearned. But there's no tendies on my plate. Did mommy think that I just ate? Tendies, get them now. You fat, ungrateful, sluggish sow. I screech while hurling into her eyes. My foul smell, bowel-dwelling diaper surprise. For she who is unpooped on is she who remembers. Never forget my chicken tenders. Comment 4. Really? McDonald's? I'm trying to comprehend how by her logic was this going to solve her problem. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.